sorry, I didn't count, but
1,000 votes.
how do you, what makes sense out of this thing?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, I think, sadly here in California, it's so blue. I mean, it's how blue, how deep blue. What's bluer? It's certainly not light blue. Is royal blue, deep, 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 deep blue.
It's bad.
It's like beyond return blue.
Did you hear that Chesa Bodine, the DA up in San
Jethro's
Francisco-
cousin?
No.
Jethro Bodine?
No.
Jethro would not be proud of Chesa.
Maybe it's Bowden.
Bodine.
He is up for recall.
Oh God, they're gonna do it. They're gonna get him. They're gonna get George Gascon.
Well,
too.
he's up for recall as well.
They only need 70,000 more signatures.
Yeah,
the most signatures they've ever.
Well, they can
had
harvest
for recall.
those somewhere.
In LA. Yeah, go pull a Trump. Hey, find me 70,000 more, would you?
Here's $10.
I think they're toast, don't you?
If the voters are, I don't want to say smart. If the voters use discretion, they should be toast, because crime is absolutely rampant. And now London Breed, the mayor of San Francisco, has said we need to take back our streets, and she's as far left as you can get. And if she's saying that, then Bowden is not doing a very good job up there.
And a very colorful language. I'm tired of this bull.
Yeah.
Take this.
So
drop a few F-bombs there.
Yeah, she's not happy. Well, when you can steal $950 from CVS pharmacy and not be charged.
But see, Bobby, I think about this, trying to figure out what's going on in this country. We're connected because of social media like no other generation. We're connected. We can talk with each other and send messages and voice, image, whatever, beyond anything that we've ever had in this country. Yet we're more divided. The connectivity is strong, but we're divided. And I look at some of these folks that literally, I believe, would put politics beyond everything, including life and death. They would literally like to see someone drop dead if they felt these politically drunk, intoxicated people, which there's millions on both sides of the spectrum. There's people that would love to see Donald Trump drop dead. Forget about what it do to his family. There's those on the right would love to see Hillary Clinton drop dead. And that's a big change that you would and not celebrate.
Not for the good. That's terrible to think that way.
But you see this political belief. See, I have a philosophy of unshakable principles and flexible politics. A lot of times those principles are imbued in your politics, absolutely. Nobody's going to turn me into a, pro-choice. I'm right to life. Nobody's going to tell me that that government runs businesses better than the private sector. Nobody's going to tell me to believe, talk me into believing we need to be weak defensively in our national defense. There's certain core principles, but in terms of other things that you work with, work the party, Reagan did that. He was politically flexible in getting things done. He got a lot done. But now we have people that it's not politics anymore. It's not a political belief. It's a religion. Meaning it doesn't matter what reality says. It doesn't matter what the conditions. You're going to keep doing it, i.e., this George Gascon. He's been put into office, as was Jethro Bodine's cousin, Chesa Bodine, by George Soros. He funded their campaigns. This is not some talking point from John Hannity. It is what it is. He went around spending millions on getting these really woke DAs in office that are really soft on crime and hard on law-abiding citizens.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that.
Yep.
So he sees the polls. He knows the recall is coming. And it's time for sentencing for this teenager who a couple of years ago stole a car. You saw the video went viral. He had a record prior to stealing the vehicle, doing his getaway, goes down an alleyway, runs over a young mother and her 8-month-old son in a stroller. You see the video and you wonder how either one of those survived. The mother was hit and flipped head over heels, lands on the hard asphalt. The stroller completely destroyed. Thank God they both survived.
Wow.
Okay.
Amazing.
And now it's time for George Gascon to recommend the punishment for this guy. For this 5 months. 5 months basically at a youth camp.
Was this guy a juvenile?
He was a juvenile when he did it. Was 16. He's 18 now.
Okay.
But he said, and then his reasoning for that was, I followed the law. Well, no, you didn't. You
what law was
by,
that?
Yes.
The one he made up?
Exactly. And so you have this guy, knows he's facing the recall, yet does something like this, goes so light. Of course, the mother's outraged, said, this guy killed my kid. I mean, you've got to make an example of this kid.
Well, and both of these DAs, Gascon and Bodin, up in San Francisco, Gascon in L.A., both big advocates for reducing the police force, defunding the police, putting it back into social programs, and so they're big into that as well. Besides being liberal prosecutors who don't want to punish a criminal, but instead want to punish law-abiding citizens.
And you know, I see some of the folks that are really coming down on the police there and involved, and they probably have a lot of it coming. But you see the ones that are just tremendously, vitriolic. I mean, really going after these cops about doing nothing during this situation.
Oh, your buddy Beto.
Because they hate cops. I mean, they're going after these guys. No, wait a minute. Aren't these the same people that said, number one, you should defund the police, and in dangerous situations like this, you should bring a social worker to negotiate?
Yes.
Well, is that what they did? They were waiting for the negotiator to come. Now, it was put into practice. What you've been wanting, woke left, in a situation like this. But when you see that kind of ideology put into practice, and you see the flaws in that ideology,
never works. Never works.
Yeah, but I just find it ironic. The same folks that were saying, "Hey," and the cops are saying, "Look, you don't have to walk a mile in our shoes, just a couple of feet. Come out on a ride along one day, and see if you still feel the same." And I just find that rather amusing. That these folks were saying, "Hey, bring a social worker negotiator."
Hypocritical.
But before we go to break here, because I want to piggyback or follow up? I guess it's follow up on yesterday's show. We can piggyback and follow up on. Well, I made some statements yesterday that kind of a little bit controversial. I'm already getting a little bit of feedback. Some in support, some not. That I just believe we're abusing our kids with this constant talk that a shooter is going to come in at any time in their school and kill everybody under the guise of you're doing what's best for the child. We live in a very difficult time with these shootings, so we just got to be straight with the kids. Tell them every nitty-gritty freaking detail, every horrible, grotesque, possible outcome that could happen violently to them when they go to school. I think that's bad. I think we're going to pay an awful price for that, mental health for these kids, because a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, they can't process that. They need to be shielded from it. And when we come back, I want to follow up with you and give you a little time to think about that. But first of all, I'm going to try this my protein. No, I'll do that when we get back. I don't want to.
What'd you get? Did you just get one?
No, I got kale and mushroom egg bites.
Kale?
Well,
you can have that then.
Well, we're going to come by and do a little taste test, and if it's good, Starbucks, I'm going to recommend it.
Kale.
And, look at this.
A vile weed.
All right, we'll be right back. This is Alan Autry. No retreat. Do not go away. Look at these things. Does that look appetizing?
I'm sorry. I'm not even going to ask for that other one. I don't. Kale is not high on my list of preferred
it's
foods.
Supposed to be good for you.
Well, it's supposed to be excellent for you.
It's with protein.
Well, maybe if the
Here's
protein.
Looking at you.
What
I'll do for a stupid dumb joke. I'm gonna do a little taste test. I'm gonna be, because I've been tough on Starbucks. I think their coffee sucks. I just think there's something that gets people hooked.
Hey, go down to the one down here in the mall. El cafecito.
Well, the problem is timing, because I come right from the gym here, and there's a Starbucks on the way.
We'll get to the gym earlier.
Well, I can't. I got stuff I got to do at home. I've tried everything, Bobby. So I've got to stay with the same kind of. Well, no, I guess.
Well, you're an old guy, so you stick to your routine. I know what you're doing. I know what you're talking about.
Routines are big,
but today I got here
for old guys. It really is. You get us out of a routine, and it's really disconcerting.
That's my wife always tells me. We go to a restaurant, one of our favorite restaurants, And she says, let's try something different tonight.
You have a panic attack.
Dear, we're sticking with what I like. Now, you can order something else if you want, but I know what I like. So every time I go to the same restaurant, I order the same thing. It drives her crazy because she likes to experiment. And I like my routine and I know what I like, and that's it.
You know how much I can relate to that?
She says, this menu is 4 pages long. You're choosing, come on.
But you know you won't be disappointed. You found something that you like.
Yeah.
Remember here in town, Willikers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
David Fansler ran at the time. It was really good at that time.
You don't want to hear my story about it.
Oh, there's some horror stories out of that place, man. I've had a few myself.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Yeah, back in my drinking days. But I used to go there, and they had a chicken breast with steamed broccoli, a little bit of rice.
Yeah.
That's what I would order. And they had this great sauce that you could dip and barbecue sauce. So I cut my piece of chicken, dip it in the garlic sauce, into the barbecue sauce, take my bite of the chicken, cut me off a piece of broccoli. And that was my routine. Sit there, talk, have good conversation. Yeah. And I did that for years. I got so predictable. They put it into the computer. So when I would walk in, it was called Bubba's Special. And he says, we have that in computer. I go, no, you don't. He goes, yeah, we do. I said, no, you don't.
They had it made up.
I said, show me. The guy took me over in the computer. Up there, and there it was, Bubba's Special. I said, I'm that freaking predictable. And Kim goes, boring on top of that. Yeah, I just don't like to be. I really am. I get a little militant with my food. I really do. I don't want to be disappointed.
No, I'm with you.
The reason I'm trying this, I want to up my protein, lower my carbs.
Okay.
No carbs in kale.
No.
Okay.
No taste in kale that's out of what I can remember.
30 seconds.
All right.
Oh, there's a man.
Who's our new engineer in there?
I love it. That was Jose. He's doing a little hormone replacement.
Is he throwing his voice around there?
It's working. Look at him. Looks like Tom Hanks in Big at the left.
Well, are you going to eat that on the air?
Isn't that cute, that voice? God, that's why we do what we do.
That sounds like my little granddaughter, although my granddaughter would keep talking. She wouldn't stop.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
Hey, and welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat with Bullet Bob Leone. Okay, I've been tough on Starbucks. I'm going to do a little taste test. I've always wanted to do this. I've got these because I want to try to eat better, and Starbucks touts these new kale mushroom egg bites. And I have them, radio audience, you can't see it, but those online can. So I'm going to take one of these little egg bites, and I'm going to take a bite of it.
How tasty is that?
Oh, man, that's awful.
You know what you need?
Oh, no, really, that is bad.
You know
it's cold, but
you need some chocolate sauce or something on that thing to make it palatable. Don't do.
Bobby, it was either do that or barf out here on the.
Oh, my
table.
word!
Seriously, I got a weak stomach.
Oh. So what do they need to do?
I didn't plan on doing that. That was not trying to be a comedy bit. I wanted that to be good, but that's horrible.
What do they need to do to improve it?
Oh, God.
Everything's
wrong with it. It was cold, but you eat cold pizza.
Yeah.
It's still pizza.
Yeah.
I've eaten cold chili dogs in the morning. And you'd think that wouldn't be good. Bun cold, hot dog cold, chili cold, but was still good. Yeah. It had the essence of the chili dog. That
had the essence of nothing.
See, you just try. Don't put something out like that for the public. I didn't.
Well, maybe if they put some chocolate sauce on it, it'd work.
God, I got to get that taste out. Hold on one second. Hold on, folks. Okay?
Oh, my word.
I don't have to go to commercial and go in there and rinse my mouth out here. I got to get past that. God, dang, that was awful.
Well,
man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to take it personal, but
that probably only cost $8 or $9 too.
I didn't even look, but I'm going to. I'm not one of those going to walk in and go, "Hey, this is horrible," but I try to help them, and then all right, Bobby.
My word.
There's studies that have come out already, and it's online about these drills. Now, the Washington Post, Bezos' outfit, not a right-leaning paper, came out and said they have some data in would not call it irrefutable, but it's really strong at this point, and showing, backing up what I said yesterday. This came out today, that having these drills, okay, we're going to have a live shooter drill, and now here's what you're supposed to do. If a guy comes through there with an AR-15, what's an AR-15, teacher? Oh, it's a gun that can put like 20 holes in you in 5 seconds. Okay. And then what I want you to do is you're going to go run and get in the closet. Okay. And then hope he doesn't find. It is so ridiculous to think that a child can process that. And on the show, then I'm going to throw it to you and have you respond. I drew the examples. Okay. I get this a lot from somebody I know well. I respect the individual. Good parent. As well, we live in a very violent world. We just got to tell the kids the truth. Tough as it is, they just got to learn to deal with it. All right, get your point. But to say that this is the only era of which we have been threatened with violence and destruction is not a truthful thought track to have in your head. And by the way, living with it doesn't mean you have to constantly talk about it. Danger. I used the example of the cop. This family, I know them. Eric Hull is his name, and I think this speaks for all policemen, men or women. They go out on the beat. They say goodbye to their kids. Now, they don't say, now, kids, I could go out and I may not come home to, because daddy's going to go out, mommy's going to go out and fight, protect the community, and there's going to be crazy people with on drugs, with guns, and they're going to try to shoot and kill daddy. So give me a kiss, right, because you may not see me.
Yeah.
They don't say that. They say, you don't worry. Daddy's going to be okay. Daddy's been trained well. We're part of the best police force in the country, and we watch out for each other, and I'm going to be just fine. Same with soldiers when they go off to war. The Iraq veterans you talk, they don't sit down with their kids and tell them all the gruesome things that can happen. Yeah, daddy may go and he may step on a improvised device and blow both his legs off. No, yeah, we know that can happen. They don't lay that on their kids. In fact, they do just the opposite. Yet somehow we feel we've got to tell these kids every possible grotesque, horrible scenario that could happen. And I think we're going to pay as a society a very awful price for that 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Your thoughts?
Well, I just saw an article about one of the local school districts here, Madera, which, for folks who don't know, is about 20 miles north of Fresno. The Madera Unified School District held training, what's today? Tuesday? Held training yesterday for staff and all the ancillary positions within the school district with regard to active shooter situations. Now, the article didn't go into specifics about how they would then translate that to the students who just got out of school last week or whatever. But it's tough. I can tell you from with regard to my grandson, all he wants to do is go to school and play with his friends. Kind of like me when I was in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Education was kind of secondarily, but so how far do we go with, and how much do we tell these kids? They have no, in some instances, their childhoods are shot.
Yeah.
They have no childhood anymore. So how far do you go with that? And I'm not sure. I don't think we need to tell every gory detail about this training or what they're doing. This is just
and exactly
preventative plan.
In fact, I say go exactly the opposite.
Tell them nothing?
No, tell them the remote possibility, how unlikely it is that somebody's going to come on their campus. There's thousands and thousands of schools. There's been, 15, 20 shootings in the last few years. Too many. One's too many. But you do the math on that, and you literally are more apt to be struck by lightning twice or 3 times than an active shooter coming on a campus and hurting you. They need to be told things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell the truth? Okay, yeah, there's bad people out there that could come in your school. But let me tell you the flip side of that. The odds of that are very, very slim. You go and you feel safe at your school.
Well,
you don't have to live in tension and fear every day because this does not happen that often. Well, what is it? Well, that's the media playing it every day because they make a lot of money. Tell them the whole truth. They make a lot of money covering this ad nauseum. After it's already been said and done, and they're still showing those graphics up there of the bodies and all the horrible conversations going on. And at school, I'll tell you, I go even a step further here. I'll tell the kids, if I was a teacher, I'd say, look, we're not going to discuss this anymore. And if you get caught discussing it, come because we're going to talk. Why doesn't psychology address that? Tell the kid why they shouldn't talk about it. I read this article the other day from this guy, started out of, I forget, I'll bring it up. I mean, he's a reputable writer talking about you should approach your kid even if they don't show signs of it. I'm talking about kids 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and ask them, have you ever thought about harming yourself?
Yeah,
have you ever thought about killing yourself?
Yeah.
What are you freaking on, dudes?
Yeah.
Don't go up to some kid. And then what was ironic, he contradicts himself and says when he was a child, that was never talked about. He didn't even know it was in the realm of possibility. What do you think? Maybe that's why you didn't grow up thinking about killing yourself?
Well, in 5,
you
6,
plant those seeds in a young mind.
they have no concept of that. They have no concept. No,
I tell you that.
they really don't. They want to play. They want to be with their friends.
Pearl, let me tell you.
That's what they want.
Exactly. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to say right here, and I'll stand by
They
it.
can't comprehend all of this stuff.
If I don't care who it is in the school system. You take my grandson or my kid and you come up to them and start with a conversation. Have you ever thought about killing yourself or hanging yourself? You're on the fighting side of me because I want to know where you're trained. What gives you the authority and what research have you done to say that you think that's a positive thing for the mental health of my grandson or my child? Where did you come? You just pulled that out of your rear end? Well, you don't pull stuff out like that because you know how we've talked about it in our lives, how one little word. I mean, Alfonso Perez told me that my forehead looked like Caesar because it was so big. For 5 years, I combed my hair down, swooped over my forehead.
Alfonso Perez.
Remember Alfonso? I was scared of him, man.
Yeah,
Alfonso was tough.
He was funny.
And he come and he goes, look at him. Caesar forehead. I got a big forehead, but I'm a big dude. My forehead goes with my big body. But I couldn't process that. All I know, those words cut deep. Somebody come up to me when I was 7 years old, said, Carlos, have you ever thought about killing yourself?
Yeah.
To a kid that moved 6 times in 5 years, was a new kid in class 6 times.
Every time.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
And you're going to lay that on me? Well, I never thought about it, but yeah, that might be a good idea.
I
mean, have you thought about that, folks? When
I'd really like to get, I'd really like to get the real common sense approach. And this would be a great topic for Larry Powell to discuss.
It would be a good, yes. He would have great insights. And
He would.
Well, he's coming on tomorrow, God willing. And but I'm telling you, I am getting a little worked up about this.
This is a little crazy.
Just
a little crazy.
Shut up about this. You think you're going to give a kid some wisdom that if an active shooter comes in, you're going to give him this little plan that's going to save their life? No, you're not. Harden the schools so you can't breach it. Have one entrance, put an armed guard there, and that's all you can do. And you know what? That will do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to tell some kid, it's just like telling them like we grow up, that when the atomic bomb hits, hide under your desk and you won't get incinerated.
we were that was our drill.
Come on.
Hide under your desk in case the bomb comes.
And we came and kind of figured that out. That's a freak. All it did was remind us we were having a good time playing kickball.
Yeah.
Now, time for the nuclear drill.
Yeah.
Prepare, anyway, I'm not going to make this a one-off. We're going to move on now and take a break here. But we're going to keep talking about this because I think we're collectively, as a country, good parents, good people do a great job raising their kids, are really off on the wrong track on this. It's too much. It's too much. You've got to drain that out, all of that fear the best you can, and tell your kids everything's going to be okay. Well, Alan, hold on. Let's take a lesson from the folks in Ukraine. Did you see in that Avov steel plant? when they were, the Russians were bombing thousands of people in that steel plant.
Mm-hmm.
All day, all night, those bombs hitting. And you didn't see the mothers and the parents saying to the kids, you know, what are those, Mommy? Oh, those are bombs that could hit us square any moment now and kill us all. They didn't say that. When I saw, they played music. They were singing. They were playing games. They were getting their kids' minds off of the imminent threat that was there. Those were good parents. Because when that's how you do it. You shield your kids from the horrors and craziness of this world until they gradually, believe me, as you get older, you find out what this old world's all about in its totality, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's a lot of bad and ugly. You're going to find that out. Don't mess them up early where they can't even handle that. When their minds are just...
Yeah, you try and maintain as much normalcy as possible.
Absolutely.
And you just reminded me that was the same thing that the parents did in London during the Blitz of London in World War II. They would be down there. They'd read.
Yes.
They'd do whatever they could. Yes, a distraction for sure, but to try and maintain some type of normalcy while your city's being bombed.
Exactly.
Without going into all the gory details.
And that's why
because kids can't comprehend that.
They can't. All you
They're
do
too
is
young.
Exactly. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, has the Ukraine become kind of the forgotten war? I mean, the Depp and Amber Heard trial. You've got the Uvalde shooting, the tragedy there. You've got inflation. You've got the elections coming up. We just don't see as much coverage on the Ukraine. When we come back, we're going to talk about that. And was it inevitable that was what was going to happen? This is Alan Autry, No Retreat with Bullet Bob Leone. We'll be right back.
Yeah, Madera Unified had a train. They did some other training, I guess, but part of their training was active shooter training. Like I said, for the staff and the teachers and everyone.
How about the kids?
Well, the kids are out of school now,
Okay.
but it didn't go into any detail as to what will be imparted to the students next fall when they get back to school as far as the active shooter situation. It'd be real interesting to see what their plan entails.
You just secure your school to the best. You harden the entry points. I mean, you make it almost impossible to get outside of one entry. That's fine. I would support that 100%. Wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You need to have that.
I mean, I got a
we're
kid in school, right? My grandson, but
yeah. Anytime where numbers of people are gathered, you need to have some security. That's just the world we're living in.
Yeah.
But this is a real bad mistake that the education system, and there's a lot of psychologists that are coming out trying to give this clarion call, this warning saying, hold on. What may theoretically sound good to you, processed through a grown-up mind, is not what's good for this kid, and you better stop it. Those statistics, they did the return on it, 36% increase in anxiety when they go through the drills.
I mean, you've also had the fallout from COVID.
On top of that, exactly.
When the kids weren't able to go to school, and that drove my grandson nuts.
And everybody going around just looking at their eyes, these kids.
He hated not going to school.
Yeah.
Again, not because he's some bright scholar, although he's a pretty bright kid.
And it didn't have to be that way.
He didn't get to see his friends.
Didn't have to be that way.
No.
They knew right off the bat that kids, when they got it, very few got COVID.
I mean, it was
very few, and even fewer.
0.0001.
And you abuse these kids by making them stay home, where in many cases there's abuse at home.
Yeah.
So their only safe place is going to school, and you take that from them. And I said that on a Jim Franklin show, Bobby. When it first started out early in 2020. I saw it was headed 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah.
1 minute.
2 weeks. I knew what was happening. I knew government and how they seek control. And I said, we're going to rue this day historically because the damage that these lockdowns are going to cause. And once you give an inch, the mile is taken.
And it did.
And it did.
The economy's in the tank.
Mental health because of that with our kids and the adults.
Yeah. So you want to do, okay, we're going to go into the Ukraine thing.
Do the We're going to take Lane. We got Lane on the line. We'll take a call because she's been on there a while. And
Lane from Alabama?
Alabama. I'm all the way from Alabama, mammy. Put on those eggs and hammy.
Mammy.
Mammy.
Did I tell you my nephew's living in Alabama now?
No.
Yeah. They moved from.
You like it?
He loves it back there.
Oh,
he was living in
Tennessee.
Tennessee. His wife is from Tennessee. And they moved to Alabama for his job, more centrally located because he does a lot of traveling. And he loves it. He lives right outside, I forget the name of the town. It's outside of Birmingham. Beautiful.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX. Call Alan now, 559-899-1550.
Hey, and welcome back to the show. We're going to go to the lines. Lane, you've been holding for quite some time here, and you have a comment. I'm guessing it's about the subjects of our kids and how much they should be taught about what's going on, particularly the active shooter situation. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes.
Okay, you go, girl.
I teach the 4- and 5-year-old Bible class at church, and one of the songs that I used to sing with them was called "Anywhere with Jesus," and the words were, "Anywhere with Jesus, I can safely go. Anywhere He leads me in this world below. Anywhere without Him, dearest joys would fade. But anywhere with Jesus, I'm not afraid."
Man, I love that. Let me ask you, Bobby, Elaine, stay on the line here just for a second. Do you think that maybe now is the time we as a society should consider reinstating the option of being able to have school prayer?
Absolutely.
You know, it was the way of education up to 1960. And they just arbitrarily said, well, it's bad for kids to have a moment of reflection.
Well, remember, but do you remember in grammar school, and I don't know how it was in other states, but I know how it was in Fresno County, California.
Daletown.
We had prayer too.
Well, here's the deal, Lane. When we were kids, the Catholic kids used to be able to get out of school for an hour, one day a week, and they'd march us down. We'd go to catechism. They'd march us down to a lady's house, and she had benches in her garage, and we'd sit there, and the nun would come from the church, and we'd sit there for an hour and listen to her, and then they'd march us back to school just before the buses came, so we'd go out. Yeah. But yeah, and we did that. We did that all through grammar school.
Yeah,
and it was no big deal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know a lot of kids wanted to be Catholic because they could get out of class for a while.
If not now, when? Why should? But it's time. Bring it back.
But what?
Bring back what?
There was nothing wrong with that.
And there's another song that I want you to look up on YouTube.
Okay.
It's called "Breathe on Us Again."
All right, I'm writing it down. Breathe on us again.
Breathe on us again.
All righty.
We sing that at church. It was sung at the Million Man March. And our pastor taught us this song, and we sing it. When you hear it, like you say, if it don't get your fire going, your wood's wet.
Well, consider that done. I'm going to look that up on YouTube tonight. Hey, Lane, thank you for calling in. We've got another caller, Laura, but thank you so much, dear. We always feel so much better after you call. It's what a blessing you are.
I appreciate that. Love you, brother.
All right, love you too. Let's go to Laura. Laura Fisher. Hey, your package came today, the SpaceX. I saw it on my desk. I can't wait to go in there.
Your flash drives are in there too.
Oh, my goodness.
Grandson.
You didn't have to do that. Well, how sweet you are. Well, let's appreciate it so much. And you said you want to talk about schools. We talk about the Ukraine a lot coming up here, but what's your thoughts on how the schools handle school shootings?
Well, the way that our school handles it is probably, in my opinion, one of the best ways that I've seen. We have a 12-foot chain link fence around our school with razor wire on the top, which is attractive, but it is safe. There is only one unlocked access from the outside, and that is the office. We have 3 resource officers, but we don't call them those. We call them guardians. their guardian.
Like it.
That's how, and they don't wear uniforms. They wear plain clothes with very specific jackets. They carry concealed weapons. We have one paid resource officer, and then we have 2 volunteer officers who are retired police officers.
Wow.
Love it.
Awesome. That's great.
One works in the morning and one works in the afternoon. We do not say we have to have an active assailant drill, which is what we're required to have. We say we're going to have an extra safety drill because we live in a state where we have hurricanes, we have tropical storms, we have a variety of different issues that can come up. So we can say, just for everybody's safety, we're going to do this special thing where sometimes we have to hide inside the cabinet. Sometimes we have to go into the bathrooms, just like we do when we have tornado warnings at our house and things like that. We don't talk about that. And this came about because when they passed the law after Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, that we had to have active shooter drills. I was the president of the PTA at the time, and I'll never forget what my grandmother told me when I was pregnant with my first child. Never give your child any information they don't specifically ask for.
Yeah.
Because if they're old enough to ask you a question, then yes, you should answer it based on their age.
Right.
But if they don't ask a question, they obviously aren't thinking about it. So it's something that you don't need to address.
Laura, let me ask you this, and Bobby, you remember this. So, sometimes, I swore when I was younger I'd never be one of those generations that when they're leaving, going, well, yeah, back in the old days it wasn't like that.
When I was a kid.
When I was a kid, I heard that so much. But, I look back and a lot of those things that were said by my dad and that generation were true. And some of the things they did, the practices that they had in place were true. They were right. And I can't tell you how many times I've asked things, mostly my mother, and questions, and she would answer them sometimes. And as I grew up, like 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, I can actually remember this stuff, questions. And then certain questions she would say, Carlos Allen, she'd say, you're not old enough right now, but you'll be old enough someday. And when you're old enough, I'll tell you. And I went, oh, okay. We've lost that. That was some common sense at play there. I think every family had a parent that said that.
The supposed experts that keep saying, ask your children this, talk to your children about this, they couldn't be more wrong. And the reason why is because any real child psychiatrist or child psychologist, anyone who really truly knows children, will tell you that is one of the most dangerous things that you can do because children do not think like adults.
Bingo.
Children like everything. Children, ask a 7-year-old when their parents get divorced whose fault it is. They'll tell you it's their fault.
That's a great point, Laura. That is
everything is because of something they've done,
exactly,
or something they didn't do, because they don't have the world experience to understand anything outside of their own experience.
Okay, let me ask you this.
So if you say to a child, do you feel like hurting yourself? Well, no, I didn't, but did I do something that maybe makes me think I should?
Oh, my gosh, that's my point, dude. This guy writes this article, and I'll get the name. Maybe the Washington Post. I don't want to throw them under the bus without knowing. But I will. It's right there everywhere. He's a reputable writer, very respected, saying something like that, recommending that you go, because he prefaces it by saying, if the child looks like they're well-adjusted, that they have no problems, you want to instigate that, and you may have to go in yourself and say, have you ever thought about harming yourself or killing yourself?
Instead, what you should say to your child, because even well-adjusted children often keep things to themselves. Because, again, as I said, they think it's their fault. They think they're to blame when something bad happens to them. Instead of saying, have you ever thought about hurting yourself, you say to them, do you ever feel sad? And what do you do to make yourself not feel sad anymore?
But Laura, here's the sticker on this thing. It wasn't, if I saw my kid over in a corner with his head down, obviously something weighing heavily on him, and I've done it before, and my daughters, go over, everything okay? Yeah. No, you look like something's going on. Talk to Dad. That's what I'm here for. Okay? What he's saying, this writer, is if the kid looks perfectly all right, having a good time, maybe finding a respite from this crazy world playing dodgeball, or comes home and acts like a normal kid, you're supposed to go, well, they do have these underlining thoughts, so I need to inquire. Go in and just demolish that mindset of peace they may have just for a little while by saying, hey, have you ever thought about killing yourself? I mean, that is so irresponsible of any writer to put that out there.
This is a minority, but I deal with an exceptional situation in that my granddaughter doesn't have a mother because my daughter's dead. And for her, she behaves very normally, but it bothers her very much because in her mind, she's the only child in her class that doesn't have a mother. And she behaves like she's fine, but I do have to ask her. I do have to ask her, are you feeling okay? Is everything okay? And then it'll come out.
That's fine. No, Laura, hear me correctly on this. Folks, and I'm glad you brought this. Hear me correctly. I'm not saying that kids, because I could fake it pretty good too when things were bothering me. Asking if, is everything okay? Or is everything fine? Or is something on your mind? Hey, you want to talk a little bit? Hey, I'm available. Is different than going up and saying right off the bat, hey, have you ever thought about killing yourself? He goes from 0 to 100.
I get in trouble for saying other things.
Yes, you don't go right there. If it leads to that,
I tell her to bully kids back. The bully.
Yeah, if it leads to that, you ask the questions.
That grandma.
Oh.
Some kid told him he was fat, and I've seen that kid's mother. And let me tell you what, one more Twinkie, she's going to need a U-Haul to take that kid to school. So I said to her, I said, you know what? You look right at him and you tell him, I'm nowhere near as fat as your mama.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, okay.
I wasn't going to get in a line of fire on that one.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? He left her alone after that.
Well, I really like the idea of
from the file of Whatever Works with Laura Fisher.
I really like what your school has done, though, Laura. That is awesome. They've really been proactive on all of this, and sounds like it's a good. It could be a good model for other schools.
You should talk to our sheriff here in Volusia County, Mike Chitwood. He's the one that came up with the idea of not calling resource officers at elementary schools resource officers. He is the one who really helped organize all of that. And do you know that he requires that every single one of the deputies that works for him, whether they work in the jail or they work out on the street, they are required every 6 weeks to do active shooter drills at schools on the weekends?
Yeah. Well, it
sounds like a great model.
You got some good stuff going there, Laura. We're going to have to take a break now. Thank you so much, as always. We are so much more wiser after spending some time with you on the Alan Autry Show. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat with Bullet Bob Leone. Yeah.
That's a great. Well,
it's a common sense
school district. Yeah, it is. I mean, the razor wire and all that. Yeah, it looks imposing for a reason because it's supposed to be imposing.
And you got to think, when you put it up, how do you prep? This is to make sure you're safe.
That's all you need to say.
And you see it up there, not about you getting out. It's safe. That's extra safety.
Yeah. It's
like remember the old jets used to go over with the sonic boom. Used to just scare people. I forget who said it. I heard it someplace. You know, when you hear that sonic boom, don't be scared.
It's a good thing.
That's the sound of freedom.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Those
jets are up there protecting us in America. Now, from that point on, I looked at it differently. It didn't scare me. Man, he was.
Well, remember all
that over there, but the
jets used to take off. Yeah, the jets used to take off from NAS Lemoore.
Yeah,
and it would be so loud.
Oh gosh!
And after so many years of hearing that, you're just going, man, I wish they would stop. And then you catch yourself. No, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Don't run out of fuel,
yeah,
man.
Exactly. Keep doing what you're doing. So how much time?
We're gonna have about 6 minutes.
Oh, really?
Well, we'll come back probably 5.
Okay.
What you want to hit?
Oh, I don't.
Sure. We have two very, very
hot
subjects: inflation and Putin.
Or
an inflated Putin.
or the first trans cheerleader in the NFL.
You know what? Let's go to Phil. You know, those are like we're going to get on the these other subjects tomorrow because I do want to hit the Ukraine. It's taken has Putin rope-a-doped us? I believe he has. I predicted that. 30 seconds. Yeah. I love that. If you guys, if you didn't hear it at home, man, yeah, little Monroy gave us the 30-second warning there with that beautiful little voice of his. Yeah, let's get with Phil.
You want to do Phil?
Yeah. I mean, because we can get in there and get out of it. I'm not going to hammer him too much, but I am going to hammer him.
You and everybody else. The guy just.
Phil.
Guy's got a big gambling problem.
Well, that probably explains it.
You know, I thought I read somewhere where he's, gambled up to like $40 million or something.
That's a lot of stress.
Oh, man.
I lose a couple of hundred at the track.
Well, there were some allegations a few years ago that he was betting on, golf. Not a good thing.
Really?
among other.
And we're seeing hanging out with Pete Rose.
Among others.
Now, circumstantial evidence. Can't convict him on that.
You guys were together.
Lenny Dykstra.
Lenny. But Dykstra has kind of gone off the deep end. Did you see?
I loved watching him.
You see what he said the other day?
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
Hey, and welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. We just got a little over 3 minutes left. Pearl, that's my nickname for Bullet Bob Leone. It goes way back, 5th grade. Another athlete bites the dust in bowing at the altar of the almighty dollar. In this case,
Agreed.
It's Phil Mickelson for the what's the name of that tournament that the Saudi Arabians?
The LIV tournament.
The LIV tournament.
I don't know what that stands for.
I'm not sure I want to know.
I don't think it means live.
Well, get a little, how were the Saudis? Give a little background on this. Phil Mickelson gave an interview, an unauthorized biography to some writer, and it came out he had some incendiary statements in there, and one of them was this new league that the Saudis have started to compete against the PGA. And Phil said he was going to be a part of it, basically for the money. He said the Saudis are some really scary people. They killed Khashoggi, chopped him up in a bunch of pieces, and basically went on to tell the truth.
Yep.
And, the Saudis didn't like that. And the Saudis said, we're going to come after you. And Phil's a lot of his peers, including Greg Norman, who's going to be the president of this new outfit. What do you think about that? Since then, Phil has apologized. Oh, I'm sorry I said that. I missed it. Pulled a John Cena.
Well,
just blubbering, snot-jerking, crying apology to the Saudis.
I don't think, First of all, he didn't say anything that was out of line, obviously, about...
Well, if you talk to America...
about Saudis.
The CIA, if you believe them.
Yeah.
Demonstrably true statement.
Yeah, exactly. The rub came in where he was approached by this LIV Saudi group to become part of a breakaway from the PGA and to become part of their tour. And he said he was going to do it. Well, after blasting him for their human rights violations and then saying he was going to do it, it has come to fruition. Just within the last day or so, he has accepted the offer from the Saudis to go on to this new golf tour for allegedly $200 million up front.
Well, I tell you, that'll buy some morals, won't it?
Yeah, well,
that'll buy some character.
I mean,
you go
these guys between him and Dustin Johnson, and there's some other Louis Oosthuizen and
almighty
Lee Westwood and some of these other guys have all decided to go to this LIV tour.
Jack Nicklaus did. They offered Jack Nicklaus even more than that.
Yeah.
And Jack had some integrity.
Yeah, he turned them down.
Turned the Saudis down. Said, I'm a PGA guy.
But how much? I mean, this is strictly greed. Strictly greed. Mickelson in his career, without endorsements, Haas, has made $95 million.
Let me ask you this.
$95 million.
Khashoggi was killed by the direction of Prince Mohammed, the big kahuna.
He went in the building, didn't come out.
For criticizing the Saudi government.
Yeah.
Do you think Phil come back going, I just criticized the Saudis? And do you think that played it? I think it did.
I don't know.
I
just think this is bad all around.
All the way around.
Just not a good look for any of these guys.
Oh, man. Well, the almighty Buck.
Yep.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you so much on Taco Tuesday here. You make the show. Never had so much fun in my life doing
Again,
the show for an hour.
no tacos.
Thank you, Bobby.
You
I'll make up for
you brought kale biscuits or something.
What, I bring a kale thing on Taco Tuesday? Explain that. Folks, God bless you. God bless America. And just do your best and let God do the rest. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Who cares about